Of all the cities in China, An'shan perhaps doesn't stand out to you. However, there are certain things about the city that really set it apart. What are they? Well, you have to come with me and find out. I'm Yin, and welcome to Travelogue.
An'shan is a quiet, peaceful city, also known as the Pearl of the Northeast. Seated in the center of Liaoning Province, at the foot of the famous Tianshan Mountains, the city is quite appealing to tourists as well, for its abundance of unique sights scattered all around. It's well known as the home to the giant jade Buddha statue, the mountain range Tianshan, and ancient temples that date back to the Ming and Qing dynasties, as far as the 14th century. The sights you'll find here and the overall tranquility reflect the influence Buddhism has had on the city's long history and culture. In An'shan, you are certain to find things nowhere else in China. In today's world, people buzz around amassing their fortunes, searching for recognition, or merely without any particular purpose at all. However, An'shan is the perfect place to find that inner peace. People here lead lives of a slower pace, savoring the morning sun, taking a chance to breathe in the fresh air and stroll by the water. It seems that everyone understands the principles of Buddhism: tranquility, spiritual development, and wisdom. Likewise, they seemingly incorporate these principles into their daily lives. Mount Tianshan, the most famous tourist site in northern China, has been a religious center since long ago. It's located in the southeast of An'shan, rising over 700 meters above sea level. Tianshan literally means 1,000 peaks in Chinese, getting its name from the nearly 1,000 peaks. The mountain is rich in trees and grass, which have been found to cover over 90% of the area. The scenery is captivating, with its peaks surrounded by a sea of clouds. Buddhists and Taoists came from far and wide to construct many temples and pagodas on this mountain. Many temples were built throughout past dynasties, including the 5 great Buddhist temples. The Longquan Temple is the biggest and most famous. It is an ancient structure dating from the Tang Dynasty that features 17 halls.
Tian Mountain has 4 distinct characteristics: the presence of pear blossoms, pine trees, strangely shaped rocks, and monasteries, of which there is one up on this mountain.
Buddhism at Mount Tianshan goes back as far as 1400 years ago. The Longquan Temple means the Dragon Spring Temple in Chinese, and the origin of the name comes from the spring waters that are present in the center of the temple all year round. There are many representations of dragons in the sculpture and painting in this Buddhist temple, where they serve for decoration in the 3 floors of the monastery. The dragon is a symbol in much Buddhism religious folklore, and they're also found in the roofs of pagodas, because they represent the liquid element that protects them from fire. The temple was built along the slopes, blending beautifully with the mountains into a whole. Buddhism was introduced to China from India because of the trade, the Silk Road, during the Han Dynasty. After 500 years, it reached its height during the Tang Dynasty, and soon it became one of the most important religious beliefs in China. Nowadays, the mountain shelters 40 monasteries, some halfway or at the tops of the mountain, with more than 1,000 Buddhist monks and Taoist priests during the peak season. A folk tale tells the origin of the mountain, and it goes like this. Once a long time ago, the four corners of the sky collapsed, and in order to save the lives of all the creatures below, the goddess Nuwa patched the sky with stones. By accident, she dropped a stone on the ground, which splashed into thousands of peaks in the shape of lotus blossoms. Thus, the Qian Mountain, or Thousand Lotus Flower Mountain, was formed. Today, religious signs can be found in the natural environment, like interesting rocks that are shaped like Buddhist deities. The mountain is also famous for housing both Buddhist temples and Taoist pagodas. For Taoism, the most imposing temple is the Infinity Temple that was built halfway up the steep mountains and has a very strange layout. Taoism is a way of life, and Taoists live their life in harmony with nature and the universe. Up here, the fragrant flowers of the summertime fill the mountain valleys, and pure snowflakes of the winter cover the landscape. It feels like walking into a mythical land. Many poets left us with much poems praising the sights, and so many poem inscription tablets stand fully or partly in the deep shrub.
Qian Mountain in Chinese literally means thousand mountains. And that's because if you take a look, it seems like there are over 1,000 mountain peaks. Rich in vegetation, the area is also known for one unique characteristic, and that is the presence of both Buddhism and Taoist monasteries on this one mountain. Sometimes on a good day, you'll even see some characteristics religious in nature. Sometimes you'll see the clouds in the shape of Buddhas, or even rocks in the same type of style. What are they exactly? No one really knows.
Surrounded by a forest of pine trees, these magnificent temples are breathtaking. And a view from far away, and you can't help but wonder if the mountain does indeed have some mystical force guarding and blessing its peaks. Maybe a trip for yourself will lead you to that answer. In An'shan, the Jade Buddha Garden also reflects the impact Buddhism has had on its people. Seated inside the temple is the biggest Jade Buddha in the world.
The Jade Buddha Palace lies in an area rich in natural resources. Besides the mountains and the water surrounding it, it also is rich in jade. And that's why it's known as the Jade Buddha Palace, because here lies the world's largest jade Buddha structure. Besides that, there's also many other structures also made of jade.
The Jade Buddha Garden lies in the east of An'shan City, covering an area of 40,000 square meters. Its unique architectural style and presence of jade makes it a rare attraction. Pillars, steps, and other structures are all made of local jade, an abundant resource found here. The history of jade is as long as the Chinese civilization, and plays an important role especially in An'shan, which is home to some of the best jade in the country. The Chinese admire the superb qualities of this material. Its transparency represents purity, its color represents loyalty, and its brightness represents heaven, and much, much more. Jade stands for beauty, grace, and purity, and has been used in many Chinese idioms or phrases to symbolize a rare beauty. Thus, jade is really special in Chinese culture, and as the Chinese saying goes, gold has a value, jade is invaluable. Besides admiring the structure of the building itself, inside the main building, you'll find the most striking figure, the world's largest jade Buddha. And surprisingly, this statue was sculpted from a giant single piece of jade, almost 8 meters high and weighing 260 tons. The color of the jade is not uniform throughout. Dark and light shades are all present. And creatively, the carvers use these different tones to reflect different parts of the Buddha's body. For any observer, it seems like the varying tones destined this piece of jade to be designed into a jade Buddha.
Now what you can see is the largest jade Buddha in the world, with a weight of 260 tons, with a height of 7.99 meters. And it is the largest jade Buddha in the world. And you can see his face is just on a black color jade.
Right.
Yeah, it's very perfect color. And